abundance often comes when you're in a calm state. Get rich quick schemes are more so in a fear state. They're based on fear. If you want something quickly, it's because you're like tense and you're like anxious that it's not going to be here. What you're actually feeling is that you need it now because it's not going to be here always. So that's what I mean. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another reading. I'm so excited to do this because it's quite a potent time because we have just come out of a partial lunar eclipse and now we are having this sort of change in seasons, but also we've had this eclipse which represents ending, and that has now gone. Now we're entering into a solar eclipse next week on the 2nd of October, but it is coming up with a new moon. New moons always represent the beginnings. Full moons represents the endings. It's a cycle. Each month that cycle takes place, and this time it is combined with this solar eclipse that is happening, and that's going to bring about quite a new energy. So be prepared for a new cycle, a new chapter. A lot of you would have had quite a few changes, things happening in the last week or so, maybe even 2 weeks. Some of you probably moved to different countries. Some of you probably have left something, job like not promotions per se, maybe eventually it will get there, but like leaving something. Previously, in the previous eclipse, it was all about leaving something behind that no longer is going to serve us. This one is all about the next thing. It's focus on the next. What is coming up? What are we going towards? And what are we building next? Those questions are going to be at the forefront at this eclipse. And it is probably also your last call in a way, last call to just leave behind whatever you don't need. That's really coming up this week. So if you feel like you need to leave something behind, that could just, and that doesn't necessarily mean other things external to you, it's just more internally. What do you need to leave behind is something you want to ask yourself. Okay, now let's get on with the reading. Let's see what's coming up next week. Wow. Everything just flipped out, but there is one card that really stood out, and I'm going to take those two. Wow. Okay, to Justice, Fool. Let's just read those two first. Justice. I can like see the rain outside right now, and I can hear it. It's quite like a nice sound of just like the raindrops. So I was just caught off guard. Anyways, Justice, number 11. Justice is being served. The way I see this card is, you see those hands right at the top here trying to reach for something for so long, almost like, but still not being able to reach that thing that you have wanted. Maybe it's something that you just feel like you're getting closer and closer, but it's just like just out of reach. Well, that seems to be changing this week quite a bit. Justice card indicates almost, it's usually the energy of what you had input is going to be now output to you or in your reality equally. Justice will be served. Maybe something you feel like maybe it is, for example, you put a lot into your business. You have done a lot of work, you've learned a lot, and maybe until now you haven't really been getting the clients that you wanted, or maybe you are, but it's not consistent or anything like that. It's more to do with those things, something you have been wanting and it hasn't, you've consistently put effort in, and you feel like, is it just wasted, or is it something that is actually eventually going to return back to me? And that's the card that I see. It's almost like a return on investment card as well. So fear not if you're fearing that gosh, I have spent a lot of time, resources, and really just energy on this thing, and is it going to materialize? For some of you, this may even be a relationship or something like that. You know, you have kind of invested in this certain friendship or relationship by, you know, maybe perhaps you put a lot of effort into it. From your side, the effort was more maybe, and now you're thinking, gosh, okay, have I just wasted that time trying to like be friends with this person? Or maybe you went on a date with someone and it, you know, and afterwards you kept meeting them, chatting them, but there's not really anything coming out of it. It's just been like conversations, talking to different people, getting to know each other, and you feel like it's kind of like, you know, going at a good pace, but nothing has materialized yet. There isn't a as friends, you haven't actually met, or you haven't had further contact. It's like stagnant. And that's what it's saying. So the return on investment. Now, bearing in mind, this is an eclipse that is coming up. Whilst we do have a new moon, which does indicate new beginnings, the eclipse may be the last bit of clearing that needs to happen. And in that last bit of clearing, what may actually happen is, maybe if you didn't see return on investments on this relationship or this friendship or this business, there may be certain tweaks that will be coming up, and you'll understand what that may be. For example, if it's a business, maybe you are meant to rename your business. Maybe it's the naming of it that is giving certain connotations, and everything else you're doing it right. Maybe in a friendship, you have done everything correctly, like you're noticing, I have really put all my cards out, or you have really made the effort to like meet up with people or get to know certain people, similar with like relationships, dating situations. You've done that, and maybe you don't get return on investment from this exact person, but there might be other people who are coming who will meet you exactly where you are, because you have shown to the universe that you are willing to go all in. You're willing to put yourself out there. You're really the kind of person who does commit to things, you know. You are someone who values that loyalty and commitment, and that's what it's indicating, this Justice card. We did get the Fool card straight after it, so oh good, okay, there we go. The Fool card right here, which it's an excellent card. If I could just get the lighting right, there we go. Okay, as you can see, it's a new beginning. It really, now just see, the feet aren't necessarily on the sand here, so it will be a bit ungrounding right now because you're starting something new. So you don't need to have everything figured out right now, because that's quite difficult to know, and actually you don't want to know necessarily where exactly you are fully going, you know. So you want to have some sort of a vision, understandably, but you also want to have a perfect balance of like taking one step at a time, so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming or so like you're having to do a lot, you know. It's like it has to be a perfect balance. So that's what I get here with the Fool card. It's a new beginning, but go one step at a time. Those of you who want to manifest, I would just wait a couple of days after, like maybe I would wait once the eclipse is over, and maybe 2 to 3 days after, and then I would think about what manifestation practices I want to try. If you want to try scripting, I have just put a post out on my Instagram page which talks about how to use scripting to create what you want next. Do check that out on my Instagram. It's called Empower with Avantika, so you can check it out, and it highlights all the steps and what you need to do. I also have a video on this where I talk about how I manifested my dream apartment in Berlin, which you can also check out on my page, or maybe I'll link it down below actually. That's also something you can check out. But if you really want to dive deep and have that extra motivation, really guided practice of creating what you want next, 9th of October, I'm holding a workshop. It's called a vision board workshop, which that's where you get to create your dream career. You really dive into the how to create an effective vision board that actually gets you the results. I have done this and it has worked so effectively multiple times for me, and I give you all the tips, because vision board is not just about pretty pictures, as maybe we have the misconception, and blinded by the sun. Gosh, okay, I'm being blinded by this. You truly feel is reflective of you, and by looking at a vision board, it really reinforces within you that what your current goals are, so you're not picking things or making decisions that are not going to be aligned to what your goals are. So that's what the vision board workshop is about. If you feel like it's online, you can go check it out and sign up for it. There's only 5 spaces available because I want to offer personal feedback, so I've kept the number very low, and I want to see what everyone is trying to create so that I can tell them how to tweak it, so that's why it's limited to 5. So go check that out. Okay, let's see what comes up next. Okay, the sun, as beautiful as it is blinding me. The High Priestess, beautiful card. 5 of materials. Okay, the High Priestess. The message that I get here is that it's time to really, even like you can see sort of like the third eye here being highlighted, and the hands here are being lit up here as well. Oh, maybe it is a sign that some of you are actually healers. Some of you are going to be Reiki healers, or some sort of healing practice that really resonates with you, especially if you are into Reiki, if you're considering Reiki. This is a sign maybe you want to go to a healer who can really help you with that. Third eye, connect to your spirit, connect to the universe. This is really for you to connect to the spirit, so that to me this sounds like the next chapter of your life, the next stage is gonna involve you to be very much connected with your intuition. And the reason for that is, and you're gonna want to make decisions based on that too, and the reason for that is your next level work is just going to be some sort of a higher level work. Maybe it involves really close contact with other people who are kind of relying on you for help, or maybe it's more client work. Maybe previously you weren't doing any client work, you were more like either doing work alone, or it was more desk kind of work, but this time it's like face-to-face client work, where maybe someone is looking up to you to kind of help them deeply. Again, this might be healer. Yeah, this very much I get. Someone is becoming or stepping into a path of a healer, which is right here. And if you are, it's time to really connect to your intuition to get further guidance. Okay, this could be a separate message from all of this, but it may be linked to the one just this High Priestess. So someone who is feeling like they need to connect to, or if you are being asked to connect to your intuition because you're meant to be a healer, that may be because you have recently felt this 5 of materials, which is 5 of pentacles. It's kind of like being left out in the cold, especially regarding money situations. If you're feeling like, why don't I have the money still? What more do I need to do? It's kind of like that kind of feeling that you're getting. You're feeling not very abundant. And how do we resolve that? Okay, well, if you're feeling less abundant, we all know this sort of in manifestation practices, how important it is to attach feeling to things. So if you're not feeling abundant, and you're wanting the physical manifestation, well, the physical manifestation tends to come once you feel internally okay. So how can we have that internal feeling of being abundant? Several ways. One way is you can watch YouTube videos like this one, where people are talking about being abundant, high vibe. You could really delve into that by listening to someone who is abundant, who does feel abundant, has recorded you. Don't consume content that who you want to be. Consume the content who you want to be. If you're on an Instagram and you're reading quotes which are kind of like quotes that are, you know, like, I'm trying to think, here's how to make money, this and that, you know, it's like just kind of what are they called, get rich quick schemes, that kind of thing, you know. That's not really abundant, because it's saying you're just, you know, abundance often comes when you're in a calm state. Get rich quick schemes are more so in a fear state. They're based on fear. If you want something quickly, it's because you're like tense and you're like anxious that it's not going to be here. What you're actually feeling is that you need it now because it's not going to be here always. So that's what I mean. Do like a little detox of people accounts on Instagram or different social media platforms that you usually consume. Maybe you want to limit it to the people that you actually want to listen to. Maybe you want to listen to people who, yeah, you admire, who you would want to be like. You admire their life, you admire their authenticity, and they seem to be the kind of person you want to be. So consume the content that you feel actually is worth it, and not like just any random quote, you know. Now, there is a hard lesson right here that I am hearing. If you're at the stage of 5 of materials, which is feeling left out, it often has to do with lack of self-discipline, or lack of discipline with something, somewhere you haven't set boundaries. Whether that's with yourself or with certain other people, you haven't set the correct boundaries. And that's a hard truth to hear, but that's often the case with 5 of materials. So where do you need to set boundaries, and who with? Who is taking up your space and time? That's why we also got this priestess card here. It's actually telling you to connect back to your intuition. Who and what is taking up so much of your time, and they or that habit or that situation needs to be eliminated. Maybe it's even just a habit of that you without even realizing you're drinking like a lot every day. Like you're drinking like fizzy drinks and this, you know, and you're kind of consuming it, but it doesn't actually align with the values that you want to have, you know. Or maybe it's just not a priority for you right now, and that's something you'll have to admit to yourself, that maybe it's just not a priority. Well, then you need to be honest with yourself that, okay, then if you're just asking for money and not doing anything about it, and that doesn't necessarily mean just getting out there and getting a job, it means having a plan at least to identify what you need. Have a plan at least to figure out what you need to do next. Have a plan for what would you like to do, what sort of channels of money would you like to open. You know, think about those things. And if you need help with that, I really recommend you to join my workshop. This is the clarity that you get in that workshop, and regarding also creating this vision. How do you work out, you know, what exactly you can focus on, what brings you joy, and putting that on one sort of frame, this board effectively, and kind of like putting it in an effective way will make you see, okay, that's what I need to do. Often we have so many things and ideas in our mind, they cloud us from really seeing what our actual priorities are. And if really you're short on money, then that should be your priority. If money really is what you want next, then what you should be doing is, and you feel like right now, you know, there aren't sources that are providing you that money, then what you really need to do is every day be disciplined with yourself and access the feeling of being abundant. Like I said, lots of YouTube videos out there, subliminals you could listen to, meditations, affirmations. You need to be doing that work, not just sitting around. And that sounds like very, very harsh, but that's the way. You know, you can start by doing energetic work, or you could go out there and get a job and do and take the next steps according to that, you know, and just work in that. That is also possible. There are two ways. But if you don't want to get a job for the sake of getting a job, that's why I recommend the other method, which is do the energetic work, the affirmations, meditations, subliminals. Look at those, get your mindset primed for what you want next. Okay, let's see what else is coming. Okay, we actually got quite a few cards. Right, we need to finish this reading soon. Okay, Three of Voices. This is Three of Swords. Card of heartbreak. Someone is feeling heartbroken. Muse of Voices. But that heartbreak actually brought you immense wisdom. Maybe that heartbreak isn't necessarily that in love situation or someone who didn't treat you right kind of thing. It can also be at work related situation, money situation as well. Maybe you gave money to someone who you trusted and now you're feeling like, okay, that was a big lesson. It's kind of like a heartbreak to a lifelong lesson full of wisdom, and perhaps that is even connected to your purpose. Yeah, this is a lesson of wisdom, something that maybe broke your heart, someone or something, a situation could be, or I even get rejection here. Maybe it's a job, your dream job, and you got rejected, or maybe it's like even it could be relationship, dating situations. It's something that rejected you, but there's a lesson in that, and there's wisdom that has come from it. And the reason why I say there is wisdom from that is because that rejection that happened actually showed you that there is a part of you might be rejecting as well within you. And that's something you might want to look at. What part within you are you rejecting? So that requires inner work. So you maybe want to have a look at someone or talking to someone who may be able to help you in that. Someone who can really guide you. A coach or a healer is going to be able to guide you pretty well in terms of what is the lesson behind this rejection and where you might be rejecting yourself. Muse of Emotions. It's quite an amazing card. So after this heartbreak where you have gained this immense wisdom, you know, you have these stages where you feel this immense perhaps it's disappointment, perhaps it's feeling like almost like an attack to your self-worth, because rejection tends to feel like an attack to your self-worth. It's often not. In fact, it never really is, but it often feels that way, that, you know, if someone rejected you, it can be taken very personally. However, now from this lesson, from the wisdom you have gained from this lesson of rejection, maybe you even need to discuss this with your coach or someone who can actually tell you like which situation is this pointing out to. You'll gain even further clarity towards it, which is going to bring you to this sort of balance of such emotions. Muse of Emotions is King of Cups. It's emotional balance, emotional management. Yeah. With the Wheel. The Wheel card often indicates a cycle being complete. You can see all the moon phases, right? A cycle being complete. It's very indicative of what is coming up. Yeah, of what is coming up. It's indicative of exactly how I started this video in terms of the eclipse season and what is kind of finishing through that. So it's all about that as well. A cycle that is being complete. So fear not, the cycle is completing and you will reach your next level goals. But remember, you might want to look into doing lots of meditations, affirmations, subliminals, looking at guided visualizing meditations, or simply booking a session with your healer or coach. Yeah, that's what you're being asked to do. If you feel like you want to book a session with me, all the details are down below, so go check that out, and you can book a session with me where I share, or we dive together deeply into where is that rejection coming from, and we look at it, and we reframe it, and actually look at what can we manifest from that. How can we use this as a fuel even? All right, I hope you enjoy this reading, and it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe or like this video so that I know that this content is needed and I keep producing more and more to help each week. Yeah, so have a nice week, and I'll see you in the next one.